German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has condemned Russia's attack on Ukraine as a quote-unquote blatant breach of international law that cannot be justified by anything. In fact, we're getting more reactions from United Kingdom as well, as the Prime Minister Boris Johnson has also said that, and I am quoting him here, "I am appalled by the horrific events in Ukraine and I have spoken to President Zelensky to discuss the next step." In fact, President Putin has chosen a path of bloodshed and destruction by launching this unprovoked attack on Ukraine. The UK and our allies will respond decisively, unquote. Russia has declared war by announcing a military operation in Ukraine. Multiple explosions were heard in the capital city of Kiev and several parts of eastern Ukraine. Now, in a televised interview, Russian President Vladimir Putin said that his country has no plans to occupy Ukraine. However, Putin has made it very clear that Russia will retaliate on those who intervene in the special military operations. Ukraine, on the other hand, has said that it will defend itself and added that the world must stop Putin immediately. Ukrainian President Zelensky has also called for a meeting of the country's National Security and Defense Council to declare the martial law in the country. Meanwhile, Ukraine has restricted commercial flights on its airspace.
Обстоятельства требуют от нас решительных и незамедлительных действий. Народные республики Донбасса обратились к России с просьбой о помощи. В связи с этим, в соответствии со статьей 51 части 7 Устава ООН, санкции Совета Федерации России и во исполнение ратифицированных Федеральным собранием 22 февраля сего года договоров о дружбе и взаимопомощи с Донецкой Народной Республикой и Луганской Народной Республикой, мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции. Ее цель – защита людей, которые на протяжении 8 лет подвергаются издевательствам, геноциду со стороны киевского режима.
And I say that our army is going to do its best to stop the attack of Putin. We are not going to wait anymore. We have to protect ourselves. What we need as well, we need bulletproof vests, we need helmets, we need a lot of medicine, and I think a blood-stopping medicine, to cure wounds from fire. And I think that is the request I can give to India right now, to the volunteers, as our medical supplies are not enough as well, and I feel that we will have a lot of wounded in these days. Yes, the missile attack is possible. We have the information that they might use ballistic rockets. The first thing that we've heard, that it might be used against the parliament and cabinet of ministers. Now we are preparing the extraordinary session of the parliament to implement the military state in the country. The people are being asked to go to the shelters, because we've heard a lot of explosions around Kyiv starting from 5 a.m. Right now, in the last 15 minutes, no explosion, but as we've got the information, the explosions were going to the military storages and military airports around Kyiv and all around the perimeter of Ukraine. The mobilization is going on, and right now near me there are several soldiers who are just being negotiating how to return to army immediately.
That was the Ukrainian MP, Sofia Fedina, who was taking stock of the situation on ground in Kiev and the kind of developments that are taking place on ground. To also now discuss this, I am now joined on the broadcast by defense expert, retired Brigadier Vijay Sagar Dhiman. Brigadier Dhiman, thank you so much for joining me. Now, even as the world condemns, Russia goes ahead and attacks Ukraine.
Listen, question is not world condemning and Russia going ahead. You have to see the entire thing in the perspective. What all has been happening over here? Russia has been doing incursions step by step in a very premeditated way. And West, led by the US, NATO, they're trying to respond. But what kind of responses are coming Hardly anything. They are just sending weapons. They are deploying troops, let's say, in Baltic states or even Poland. But what Russia is doing, they've gone into Belarus. They've almost, made a deployment on East Ukraine borders and Crimea from the southern borders. And they're trying to do it in a very, very, deployment in a very pragmatic manner. And Putin has been 15, 20 years in the KGB before he became the president. His idea of security, the strategic depth, and his economy is very, very clear. He knew all the while if Ukraine goes into the western side, follows into the pala of, let's say, European Union or joins the NATO, that would be almost an end of strategic depth for the Russian Federation. So Putin will not let that happen. So that is why he's coming one by one. Today morning, he has gone on a national television and convinced the people that what he's doing is wrong. But what is his end game? You see, Ukraine was a wheat bowl. Ukraine was the highest number of nuclear weapons of erstwhile USSR. Once the fragmentation took place, what happened was all these things got fragmented, and Russia didn't want to give it away. Russia just didn't want to give it away. Now, what do you do? Because it is posing a threat. It is letting the NATO coming onto his doorsteps and threatening Russia's security. Though the Cold War has ended in favor of US, but Russia is still feeling threatened. So he had to do something. So he did that, and what today is doing, and what is his end game? It could well be defragmentation of, let's say, Ukraine. It could have certain states, independent states, certain joining the Russian Federation, and certain, and Ukraine is left with nothing else. So this is what probably Putin is trying to get into it, and let's see how the further steps take place.
Brigadier Dhiman, Russia has released a statement and they say that these are not any artillery strikes on the cities of Ukraine, precisely saying that the population is not at risk. What do you make of these statements?
See, these are the conciliatory statements for the digestion of the world opinion. Okay, look, we are not targeting civilians. We are only targeting the military might. We're trying to disable the air defenses of Ukraine. We're trying to sort of do something which would not have the mass casualties. Aim is only try to get the whatever dominance or support the people who are insurgent within Ukraine in favor of Russia. So that is the kind of a message he's trying to send.
All right, Brigadier Dhiman, thank you so much for joining me on Mirror Now. An important development that we continue to track here on the channel. We'll get you more on this on the other side as well. Stay tuned for more after this short break.